A band attractively titled Yolanda Be Cool. That's their best known hit, Speak No Americano. My guest of the day is founder CEO BookMyShow, the excellent Ashish Hemrajani.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Okay, Ashish Hemrajani. Good to see you. And you guys have already contributed to the PM Cares Fund as well as to the Maharashtra Chief Minister's Fund. How are you doing, first and foremost?
Yeah, so I'm doing okay. I mean, it's a new normal. And I guess when I say a new normal is that this has already started to seem like a normal, and which is scary in a lot of ways and great in a lot of ways. Because I've realized that you can be far more efficient, and all this stuff about having offices and meeting people and, having those trappings of somebody getting you coffee and all of that just doesn't hold good anymore, and it's scary because you don't need to be socially meeting other people, and you can still be more efficient by cutting out flab, trimming your waistline, figuratively and literally, which is, within the company as well, you can do with far less people now. Also socially, I think it's getting very awkward. Within a month, just see when you're in an elevator, people don't know whether to shake your hand, greet you. Should they be in the same confined space? They shouldn't be. While memories are short, I also feel that this is going to take time for people to, get socially back to where they were. So that's what I said, that it's a new normal, and a lot of things which are very abnormal are starting to seem normal for everybody. I mean, I don't think I've enjoyed my home or been as long or even known things about my house in all these years and years and years that I have at this point. I mean, I literally know where the refill of the soap is and where the colon is and where the Lysol is and what you do, with certain types of material and cloth. And I mean, I have literally never spent time at home ever. And for the first time, I mean, I know how the refrigerator works and how do you switch on a gas, and, and the oven has never been used like it has. The oven must be sick of us by now. It's like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, give me a break.
I have this abiding, like, if they do these games saying that if you want to think of Ashish Hemrajani, what are the words you think of? Like, if you think of me, you'd probably think of me in front of a mic with headphones on. My visual of you is being on your boat off the gateway of India with your hair flying in the breeze, man. And that is something you're not being able to do right now. How are you coping with that?
That is frustrating. Look, I live by the sea, so every day I'm looking at the wind. I'm looking at the wind finder, the prediction of the wind, the tide. I look at fishing boats have started, so I see the fishing boats come up in and out. I can see the ripples on the water. There is this sarcasm. This is this new, it's this algae that gets produced, which is a living thing. And I'm seeing streaks of that already regenerating in the water in 30 days. I can see it out on the ocean. So that's the only dose of the ocean I'm getting. My boat's still in the water. She's going to get lifted in the next 8 days. So it's a bit frustrating not to be out in the sun and be on the water. But look, it's got to be done. And these are extraordinary times, and you've got to respect the elements. When you're a sailor, you respect the elements. You can't complain about the wind. You can't complain about the tides. All you can do is adjust the sails. So that's what I'm doing. I'm adjusting the sails at home. It's a new normal for work. It's a new normal for your life. You can't complain about the virus. You can do your bit, adjust your sails, and hold position till you're required to do what you can.
Getting all domesticated is Ashish Hemrajani in lockdown. Founder CEO BookMyShow in conversation with me. I'm Hrishi K. Let's listen to some Kungs and Olimers. A song called More Mess, only on 94.3 Radio 11 World, your station. Senorita by the lovey-dovey couple Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. Ashish Hemrajani, founder CEO BookMyShow, is my guest of the day. He's speaking to me about his life in lockdown and more.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
What are you guys doing for groceries? I mean, does it come down to the building and you go down, bring it up and sanitize it? Home delivery, or you're going once a week or something?
No, so what we've done is my driver, Ram Singh, within the first day of the lockdown was moved into a guest house out of his current staying environment. And so he is quarantined in a separate apartment. So he goes and does the runs. There are certain deliveries that come in. We have our suppliers. So when you're needed to go and pick it up, Ram Singh goes, does that. But if it's required to come in, where we live, the gates were blocked a couple of weeks ago. So nobody can enter in and out. Even the security just stays in the premises. So nobody can come in. So it comes to the main delivery gate. The whole place is sanitized. Stay area is sanitized twice a day. And then once it comes in, anything which is not perishable is kept away in the boot of the car or in a storeroom for about 2 days. And whatever is perishable is dipped into soap water or is sanitized using certain materials. I don't know what they use but at home, but I think it is potassium permanganate it and a bunch of other stuff. And then it is stored. And everything that comes from out in, we've done a few takeout dinners, but anything that comes in, first only one person handles it, and then is hands are washed, and then it is transferred to another bowl, and then it is zapped in the microwave, which we hate using, or in an oven, just to make sure that you're just doubly sure. So just a few precautions. Look, I just think that if you're healthy, you're going to get it. It's going to come through you if it already hasn't, and you've been asymptomatic. You're going to get herd immunity. You have to get it. 70-80% of the population should and will get it at some point of time. The whole social distancing is to make sure that the public healthcare systems and your private hospitals have enough time for hazmats, PPE material. You have enough ventilators. You have enough oxygen. You have enough beds. You have enough quarantine checks and procedures and SOPs in place to be able to cater to that peak demand of your city or your state or your country. And I think everybody must get it who's healthy. And it's another viral, you're going to get it, and it's going to pass through. It's more aggressive, it's more contagious. But as long as you're not passing it on to somebody with underlying health issues or somebody who is elderly, that's the only responsibility that you have. But I'm not worried about getting the virus. In fact, if you get it, you're over and done with. Or probably I already have. I don't know. But you can never tell, because if you're asymptomatic, you can't do a test. So that's my view on it. And I think we have to build that herd immunity at some point of time. I'm pretty hopeful, given the BCG overlap that India has, or the heat or whatever it is, we do have some better immunity. While our numbers may not be that high, given that we are not testing as much. We're not doing antigen or the other test, which is for contact tracing and all of that, as much as other nations have. But the true number or the metric is in the number of deaths that you have. And that also hasn't been, given the population and community transmission that people thought may have come in India, it hasn't been as high. So you getting it is not a big deal. You being positive is not a big deal as long as you recover. And that's about it. So I have a very different view to this. I'm not freaked out. I think it's just there to be dealt with.
So how good are your cooking skills? Or do you have a domestic help who cooks? Or is it you and your wife pooling in resources? Yeah.
No, so I've been baking a lot. I have done maybe since the lockdown more than 10 loaves of sourdough bread. So I've experimented. I have my own starter, which is many, many years old. And so it's a living, breathing thing. So I have been doing a rye levain, and then I've been mixing whole wheat with all-purpose flour, and I've done various. So I've got 2 loaves right now, one with poppy seeds on it with rye, and the other one which was plain. So I've been doing a lot of sourdough. I've done banana bread. I've done ciabatta. I've done focaccia. It's my son's birthday today, who's 8. And so I made a carrot cake yesterday with cream cheese frosting, which we cut at 12 o'clock. So everybody is eating that right now over coffee. So I've just been baking a lot. I haven't been doing like regular cooking, but I've become a bit of a master with the bread. So from Breaking Bad is going to be Breaking Bed, or you can say from Book My Show is going to be Book My Bread. Like the French Revolution, if you can't eat bread, you might as well have cakes. But I don't think that's happening in my house because there's tons of bread now.
And the little master, is he getting to kick around the football in the compound, just run around a little bit? Kids have
I take him down. I take him down for soccer. And then I do my run, because we're a very scarcely, residential building. And we've got a very, very large compound, got more than 2.5 acres. We've got 2 lawns, play area. So everybody socially, we sanitize the place twice a day and using a machine, the whole place. And so we have a bit of breathing space down in the evenings. So I take him down for soccer and we spend a couple of hours down. He cycles. So it's great. Yeah, we can get out in the evenings.
Super stuff. Ashish Hemrajani talking about family bonding and bread making in lockdown. This is the life. More with the genius founder, CEO of BookMyShow up ahead, but not before I play this banging hit by Nico Santos and Topic. It's Like I Love You. Only on 94.3 Radio 1 World, your station. My name is Hrishi K. More playlisting for our artist of the month, Dua Lipa. That's Love Again. Loving this conversation with one of the foremost CEOs in the country. Ashish Hemrajani and his BookMyShow have traveled many a mile, and they're going next level in this lockdown. More conversation now.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Let's come to the business. I love these virtual in-home offerings. I mean, you've really pushed the envelope. It's almost as though, and the way you've done it, you've been so quick to react. You've been so proactive. I loved Live from HQ, live in your living room, and then Theatre Live. I'm a theatre buff. We've met in Prithvi so many times, and I thought I'm going to miss my theatre. You've really pushed the envelope on that one. And the Stay Fit India Challenge, which is, broadening this to fitness as a category. So let's talk about all those virtual in-home offerings.
So Rishi, look, my view on this is that BookMyShow is probably one of the few companies in the country that has seen two big downturns. A lot of big organizations have seen the global financial crisis downturn. Some folks have seen the dot-com bust of 2001, 2002. But in the dot-com bust, they all went bust. More than 95, 98% of the companies. Very few survived. And then the global financial crisis was seen only by the newer age of companies and the traditional organizations. I think barring one or two, nobody has seen two big downturns in their history of their organization or their company. And I think we have been today on the hindsight, you can only join the dots backward. And we've been fortunate. No other global university can give you the training that these two downturns gave us. And I think people that are in denial are like ostriches with their head in the sand. We don't know how long this is. We don't know how deep it is. We don't know how the social fabric, it may impact the social fabric or what it may do. What the revenue uptake will be once things start normalizing. There's a lot of open-ended questions, and this is something that the world has never seen. So while the medication may be out in May, June, and the vaccine trials have begun, and it could be out as early as September, maybe early next year, I think there will be a lot of new normal till the whole world gets vaccinated, and this is going to change things. So we've seen this before, and so for us, it was that memory bank that came in, whether it was to trim costs, to become super efficient, cut flab, it was literally done overnight. I mean, I remember Tuesday was the lockdown. By Wednesday night at 9:30, the Noah's Ark document was created in the company, which is what are the things that we will do. And we've cut down fixed costs more than 50%. We've done the right things. There's zero revenue, as you know. And then we moved very quickly into innovating. So we've already started a consulting gig for 5 weeks to future-proof the business from 1 year to 3 years. Hence, not in the next 1 year, because this fiscal, you'd be foolhardy to believe that something's going to happen. If something happens, that's a plus. But it's almost for the whole world, it's written off. This period didn't exist. It's a pause, right? And so you have to look at how much can you catch up 21, 22 fiscal, and what are the things that you can do today? What are the inputs that you can do? So the whole organization is working virtually from home. I'm busy. I wake up. My schedule is I wake up by about 8:39 in the morning. By 10:30, 11, Bonita's got me on Zoom calls. From 11 in the morning, I'm busy till about 5:36 in the evening. I get 20 minutes in between to stretch and fold my bread and do all the other stuff or grab a quick bite. And then in the evenings, I work out. The bar opens by 8:30. I have a drink. And then it's dinner and watching some sort of series or whatever online, or catching up with friends virtually and having a drink. And then it's just keeping your mind, keeping your body healthy, and then keeping the business on the rails. And we are fast tracking a lot of stuff which we would have probably taken far longer, because your mind plays tricks on you on business as usual.
Whoa, you really put things into perspective there for all companies who are facing this crisis. Fascinating chat with Ashish Hemrajani, founder, CEO BookMyShow. Still lots more to go. You make sure you don't go anywhere. I promise to keep playing you the hits like this one. Ron Keating, Loving Each Day. Only on 94.3 Radio 1 World, your station. I'm Hrishi K. The miracle boy band One Direction with best song ever, stellar interview. If you're a fan of young captains of the industry and a fan of gaining life lessons from the radio, this is the interview for you. Ashish Hemrajani, CEO BookMyShow, is vibing with me on the show today.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Ashish, you did say at the top of this interview that in a lot of ways this lockdown has made BookMyShow even more efficient. Explain yourself, please.
Today with this, there's no trappings of that coffee, wasting time, meeting people. It's so efficient to get work done digitally and remotely that we've been able to complete our work before our scheduled dates. All the product teams, engineering teams, design teams, all the innovation that we were planning, future-proofing of the business. Where are the next lines of revenue going to come from in 2023? And as a part of that, we're running a series of experiments, trials, innovation. And you have to have a strategy to be able to be nimble, quick, and reactive. If you're not, then you're not a startup. Then you become a clunky old company which has the trappings of moving very slowly. So the moment this happened and we knew that this was going to run long and it's going to run deep, we ensured that we brought digital programming on the platform. Right now, we're doing stuff on Zoom. We're doing stuff on Facebook, Insta Live, Facebook Live. We built our own digital platform behind a paywall, but we're not going behind a paywall for a few reasons. Mentally, people are not ready. It's a very negative time. People are at home. We've had consumers and customers who've stayed true to BookMyShow for more than 20 years. The business was founded in 99. I think it's just unfair that you profiteer in a time like that. When everybody is down and out and when they need you, if you're not their friend in time of the need where you can entertain and you start making money out of it, I just don't think anybody would appreciate that. That's number one. And I also feel it's our moral and it's our responsibility to ensure that we provide what we can in the best ability and the way that we can. And so we built the online platform and we did Live from HQ, which had Veer Das, we had Pratik Kuhar, we had, a lot of musicians, Indian Ocean. We've got this Stay Fit Challenge. This is the second series. And so we've got, folks, celebrities coming and doing fitness challenges, which I thought Stay Fit India Challenge is phenomenal. You should look at that. And then we've got a revenue opportunity, which I also thought was a good cause, is Recharge for Good with Vodafone. And we're doing a series of live performances with Ankur Tiwari and Dhwani Bhanashuli. Indian Ocean is in it. Pratik is on it. But all the proceeds which are coming from there are going for Recharge for Good. And then we've got this amazing series with Bittu. Bittu Saigal. We've got the wildlife environment conservation space, which is called Sikh Sanctuary. And we've got some amazing stuff on wildlife and nature. And there's a whole series, which I thought was interesting. We did something with Jairam Ramesh, Steve Winter, all of that, which began on Earth Day on April 22nd. So I feel that you've got to mix it up a little bit. It's just not pure entertainment, which is short form. These are proper, deep, engaging, programming, and we're not charging for it. I just don't feel good about it, about making money off something which is in other people's misery. When everybody is happy, businesses are back, everybody is back to work, everybody has predictability, incomes are back, profits are back. People will want to be social, will want to step out, will want to go to a concert, will want to watch a movie at some point. And at that time, we'll make our revenues. But till then, you have to be prepared for days like these, which is how do you take care of your shareholders? How do you take care of all the stakeholders, which is the shareholders, my employees, my fans and customers, my vendors and partners. And you've got to make sure that you're right by everybody in a situation like that.
See what I mean by life lessons on the radio? Ashish Hemrajani, founder CEO BookMyShow. In a gripping chat with me, we're entering the home stretch. Hang by. Here's Calvin Harris with Eno Rolls and How Deep Is Your Love. I'm Hrishi K and this is 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. Jason Derulo is all energy with that mammoth hit of his Want to Want Me. Having some fun and gaining insights on the way with my guest of the day, Ashish Hemrajani, founder CEO BookMyShow. More to come.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
I also like that apart from performances, getting musicians and theatre personalities and stand-up comedians to perform, and your environmental cause with Bittu Saigal and Dia Mirza and all these people, you're doing some fun stuff. I love the fact that you're doing this healthy cocktails at home. 5 o'clock, 5 healthy cocktails and things like that. So I think there's a lot of fun to be had at home. I mean, no disrespect to people.
Well, I practice what I preach. 5 is a little too early for me, but yeah, by 8 for sure.
Let's now come to BookMyShow's commitment to frontline workers and to employees. I mean, Book a Smile has been active for a while. You've been doing some amazing stuff with the charity initiatives. But, I was thrilled when Albert, who's one of your colleagues, told me about your fabulous community kitchen. I think really that's the way forward. I mean, this is like the langars that you get in the Four Bungalows Gurdwara, man.
Yeah.
It's just great stuff. So talk to me about commitment to frontline workers, employees, keeping them engaged, and the charity.
So Book a Smile, where all the donations that come in as 1 rupee from our consumers go into a fund which usually serves underprivileged communities for music, for art, we serve them for music, for art, for anything in the creative field, for movies and theater and all of that. I just felt that given that it is so extraordinary, the situation and the time, that we've changed our focus for the time and carved out a fund. So I just felt that we needed to change the focus slightly and be able to be a little more flexible. So we've created a percentage out of the fund and the corpus that we have, and we've earmarked that for COVID action. And how can we be helpful? So the first thing that we did was, let's use our current office premises to be as efficient as we can. So our security, our cooks, and our office boys are locked in. and we've got a 100,000 square foot headquarter office, and we have a big cafeteria. So we started cooking food and serving 1,000 meals a day from our office, which is lying vacant at the moment. And the reason we did that was because the frontline health workers, the BMC and the police are the ones that nobody thinks about, because everybody thinks it's their job to do what they do. And I felt that they are overworked at this point of time and putting themselves in harm's way, not only for themselves, but their families. Imagine all of us are in hiding, but they go out there every day, do what they're not expected to, but what they want to do, and almost expected to, but also what they want to do and wish to do, and put themselves in harm's way, and then go back to their families every day. And so we just felt that keeping their immunity and nutrition at the top of our agenda was very important. So they all came back, all the chowkis in our area, the BMC chowkis and the police chowkis came back and they said, look, we're covered for lunch and all the other meals, but because we work all night and we start very early, breakfast is something that we would appreciate. So rather than giving those 12 rupee, 14 rupee dirty meals, we are giving a wholesome meal every morning for breakfast, including a fruit. And we serve 1,000 meals a day as a part of the Book My Show, Book a Smile action group to be able to serve 1,000 meals. So since April 12th, we've now served 15,000 meals. So it's not about the numbers. It's about where it's going and the quality of the food. So that's one thing that we've done. The other thing that we've done with Book a Smile, the fund, is that we have contributed to now, or in the process of, with the PM Cares as well as the CM Relief Fund. And I think everybody expects the government to do everything for you, while sure, you pay taxes and the government is supposed to do what they do. But I think the government across states, across the center, are trying, and I don't think that nobody is trying. It's a new normal. It's never been done before. Nobody has any answers. And so we felt that to have a well-rounded approach towards our action, we needed to even support in small way or whatever way to the government, if we can. The other thing that we've done is that we have directly been involved in NGOs which are making temporary beds, corrugated beds, which are needed to add additional capacity. We are also helping and supporting PPE material that is needed, hazmat material that is needed, and daily wage workers, and to feed food to daily wage workers. So I think these are a couple of things that we have taken an initiative to do right away. And this is not the end of it, because there's a lot more that we still think is possible, because we're just taking each week as we go along to see what else can we do.
Wow, Ashish, I have to say that this is really next level corporate social responsibility from the Book My Show and Book a Smile teams and yourself. Keep showing the way, man. Our last leg of conversation with Ashish Hemrajani up ahead. You don't want to go anywhere. Here's Carly Rae Jepsen with I Really Like You. My name is Hrishi K, and you're tuned into 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. Lionel Richie with his all-time hit, My Destiny. Eventful interview with Ashish Hemrajani, founder CEO of Book My Show today. Last leg still to go with this inspirational business leader.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Ashish, we will come back and do a part 2 of this interview with you tomorrow. But before you sign off on the gig today, you want to delve into one other important initiative that your team and you are involved in?
We had one more initiative. We're working with the BMC, Municipal Corporation, because they have limited capacity for their disaster management and assigning critical beds to patients. So Book My Show used to run a very efficient customer care and call center to service our customers, and Book My Show's NPS is one of the highest in the country. And so we pride ourselves on customer care. We have that spare capacity. So what we're looking at doing is to almost, we're working with the BMC Commissioner, Praveen Pardesi, great guy. We're working with him to make every hospital a theater. The view to Book My Show will be a theater, and every a seat. And so today it takes anywhere from 3 hours to 6 hours if there's a patient, based on the level of severity as to where they end up reaching, in which hospital. So the BMC has actually already created enough capacity between private and public hospitals, containment areas. And so the severity on asymptomatic cases or symptomatic cases based on your age profile differs. So you have to be able to point the patient in the right direction. So the BMC team, along with ours at our customer care center, which will have social distancing, will have safety measures, food, masks, gloves, alternate desks, the calls are going to get rerouted to the Book My Show customer care center with BMC present to be able to assign beds to patients in real time. So the SLA is to get you to the hospital within 1 hour. So suppose you were to call and say, here's my conditions, here's my age, this is what I'm feeling, this is my area. We would be able to assign you a bed, and ultimately we want to give you a ticket, like a barcode, for you to be able to show it at the hospital, and that's your registration to be assigned a bed.
Wow.
So that's the other initiative that we have with BMC. And the other is, supporting some of our partners. And I think, the arts will suffer as many other industries will. And there are certain industries in the art which is a dying art form. And we've been very supportive of circuses. And I don't mean circuses with animals. We all grew up with the wonderment of circus. We did Cirque du Soleil, everybody came and watched, but that was a rich man's circus. But there is a circus for everybody. And I remember as a kid growing up and being able to go to the circus. And that was, Rambo Circus. And after animals were banned, they moved to, just having people, and you do phenomenal tricks. And it's the human endeavor of what the human body can do. And it still is phenomenal. You go to places where kids come up, and we've been selling Rambo Circus for a while, and they've been struggling. They've really been hurting. In fact, so much so that the members of the circus, what is a circus? Circus, if you remember the story of Ringling Circus, they used to have a train in the United States, and it had a schooling on it. Kids were born on the train, and they would go for years and years on a circus. And circus came to town. And when circus came to town, they parked their train, the circus happened, and then the circus moved to another town. Rambo Circus is very similar in that way, where they go and they put up a tent in your town, in your village, in your local area. And the performers live on the site in tents. And right now they're stuck outside in Maharashtra. And they're not being able to get home. They've run out of money. Wow. And they didn't have food to feed themselves and their own families, the performers. They were living in almost like a tent, which is like a shanty. And so Book a Smile stepped up and has provided money for 2 months to Rambo Circus so that the performers can feed themselves and their families, because there's no money going back home. Otherwise, the tent and the circus and all would have collapsed. I mean, it would not exist. It would cease to exist. So we've got various stakeholders. So we're doing stuff personally. Our employees, my customer care team has all got 50,000 rupees. They all sort of got together. We've given the CM and the PM fund. We've given materials directly to NGOs. We're supporting food programs. We're supporting a partner like Rambo Circus. And so it's not one thing that we're doing. And we continue to see how we can best play our role. And then the whole partnership with BMC to do what we can to help the city of Bombay, which is our city. I mean, we grew up here, born and raised. BookMyShow prides itself of being one of the few or only internet companies that scale still in the city of Bombay while everybody has moved out. So this is the least that we can do.
You pride yourself, and we are so proud of you. Like I mentioned, part 2 of the Ashish Hemrajani interview shall play out on the morrow. Think of some other great moments that will enthrall you on the gig when that happens. And now I play you some Michael Bublé, and it's a beautiful day. I'm Hrishi K on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. Alexandra Stan with the crackling Mr. Saxo beat. It's part 2 of my interview with founder CEO BookMyShow Ashish Hemrajani. For those of you who didn't tune in yesterday, we had begun talking about his time in lockdown and how they've built a Noah's Ark document for the business. More to come today.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
What about employees? I like the fact that you have a human chain. So talk to me about employee welfare and how you're handholding a few of them. And there's a lot of community feeling with BookMyShow, for the people who are working in the company.
Look, our greatest asset is our people. We don't have any plant machinery. We are sure we have a few computers and we have office space, right? Everything that you see on BookMyShow is people driven. We have no other asset, right? And so with our employees, it's very family run in that sense that BookMyShow does tons of stuff in employee engagement. First of all, we had the vision to say no copay. BookMyShow covers an insurance cover for every single employee. We have 1,500 people across 7 countries and across 8 or 9 offices in India. And we cover every person for themselves, for their spouse, their children, and their parents. So themselves, sideways, down, and up. So BookMyShow pays for Mediclaim for everybody. There's no copay. There's no contribution from the employee. That's our job. And then we have a central corpus and a central pool, which is used as a spillover. The government did something which was great, which I think was adding COVID to state insurers for Mediclaim. It gets covered under that. So all our employees, number one, are covered under their current Mediclaim plan for COVID-19. For the pandemic. The second thing is that we have insurance plans as well, which we cover all employees. I think the well-being of people mentally is very important for us. So the whole company, the 1,500 people, are broken up into a human chain of 115 WhatsApp groups. And what we do is every morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, at 10 o'clock in the evening, there is an administrator for each of those 115 groups. And all we do is check in on each other to say if you're okay. So if somebody is not okay, they tell you, and then we know what action to take. But all we're checking is your mental state. Because, we could be with families, you could be with your family, you're happy making bread, you're exercising, you could be working. There are a lot of kids who are home alone. So we have somebody who came in from New Zealand, one of our employees who left for New Zealand, came back to India, but he was a Delhi-based person. And then he's moved to Bangalore, but he was in the middle of moving his family, as his wife and daughter. So they're stuck in Delhi, he's stuck in Bangalore. So he's alone, they're alone. And so it becomes important to know everybody's well-being. And this is an efficient way to know if everybody is okay. And if somebody is not, then it gets highlighted and then we know what needs to be done. So until then, also it's important to make sure that you keep everybody busy. You make sure that everybody is on top of things and they're mentally active. We did some exercise, remote, workout sessions. And I think we're continuing that thrice a week, where by appointment, people can get on and our office trainer, she gets on and then gets everybody to come together and do yoga sessions and workout sessions. So so the human chain is one way of keeping in touch.
I like that thought about an online human chain. Ashish Hemrajani is my guest of the day, and before we bring him back, here's Zara Larson with her all the time, only on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K. Arman Malik doing us proud with his control. Ashish Hemrajani, founder, CEO BookMyShow, talking to me about the new normal in both his personal and professional lives. This is part 2 of a gripping chat we started yesterday.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
What's the first thing you're going to do when the lockdown is lifted, whenever it is?
I don't know, because it could be extended. It would be a slow start in terms of opening. I think we've already put systems and processes in place on how we are going to get people back to work and in what form and function. So we just want to make sure that those are in place. I would love to go out and meet friends, have a drink. I mean, for sure, just give a hug, meet somebody and just say hello. Go to the beach. I mean, I just love going to the beach. I haven't been. I can see the beach, but I can't go. I would love to do that. And the beach is looking phenomenal. The water is recovered. The beach is recovered. I would love to just be out there. My boat, she's getting lifted in 8 days. I would have loved to go for a sail. Peace and plenty will be out of the water. So I would like to do those. But look, there'll always be another time. Summer vacation was booked. Tickets were booked. Those are all being cancelled. A ski trip was booked. That was cancelled. So I was always on a plane and I always complained about the fact, I'm always on a plane. I'm always traveling. When will I get time to chill? And now all you do is chill at home. And you haven't been on a plane. You can't even think about a hotel. You can't even look. We did go to Goa just before the lockdown. Just got in like a day before that. But this has been nice in a lot of ways on self-discovery and spending time with yourself and being able to do the dishes and know what Lysol means and Colin meals and what Ajax means. Cleaners, you have this sponge which has a spongy side and you have a green side, and I didn't know which side to use. And I was like, what do you do with this, man? What side do you use on what? And I had no idea. Settings on the oven are now something that I know well. So I can tell you what temperature to put what at. So, well, it's been good, but I'd like to, get back to normal. But life will change for sure, personally and for work. And I just feel that when you come out of it, companies that have been able to manage the situation better and be aggressive in the way they've managed it, raised money when they didn't need to, always been conservative in your capital and, fund usage, outflow, being circumspect in getting into the areas of businesses that you did. We've been a monoline business in a lot of ways, which held us in a lot of good stead for all these years. But now you've got to diversify. And when I mean diversification, we were in live events, concerts, production, ticketing, all of that. But that was all to do with people congregating and stepping out. But that in itself is under question. So what are the other things that you can do? So we've got a bunch of 10, 12 ideas. Some of them were baked out. Some of them we knew we needed to do, but we weren't doubling down on. Now we've distilled it on down. And now we know exactly what we want to chase till 2023. So it's been phenomenal, I guess, in a lot of ways. And just getting to know the side of human beings in times like these, who's helpful, who's not, who reaches out, who doesn't, who cracks under pressure, who doesn't, who's positive and mentally healthy and who isn't. So it's a study in human nature as well. So look, I have no complaints.
Well said. We really ought to view this as a study in human nature in a lot of ways. The very sharp and warm Ashish Hemrajani continues on my show. He's founder, CEO BookMyShow. I'm Hrishi K. And let's enjoy some Mabel and her track Boyfriend. Only on 94.3 Radio 1. One World, your station. Train, that band that has Pat Moynihan, lead vocalist and principal songwriter, as its pivotal piece with 50 Ways to Say Goodbye. Ashish Hemrajani, founder, CEO BookMyShow, was on quite a roll when the lockdown hit. The Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, and the mother of all concerts, U2, all helmed by BookMyShow. But he's adapting optimistically to this situation. More chat with him here.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Your favorite memories of Ed Sheeran and U2? How much is enough is a big question. Is there enough time ever for your favorite rock star, given that you're getting such little time to spend with them? But anything that comes to mind? There was Bieber, there was Sheeran, there was U2.
Look, U2 was special, not because of the stardom, or I just think Bono is a great guy, and I get along very well with him. And we, even after COVID, we've exchanged messages a couple of times. He's doing well, and he checked on me and my family, and I checked on his, and he's doing well. And it's good to know that there are people out there who have similar value systems, and you can level from a human to human, 1:1. That's special. Kannan is a dear friend, Karan Johar, and I, just before the lockdown, I was in London for work, and he happened to be there for work as well, and we caught up for drinks with some friends, and that was a special memory because that was one of those evenings which was a fun evening. We had a big fat meal I had with my colleagues and friends at Indian Accent, which is owned by another dear friend, Rohit Khattar. He was there with me, and we all had this big meal, and then I went to meet Karan, and then we had drinks at this lovely bar, and it was fun. And yeah, concerts are great. Again, it's the memories that, the music is the music, but it's the memories that you remember from each of those, the high fives, the breakups, the relationships, people walking into those gates. I miss that entire thing with IPL as well, right? You enter the gates, and it's the joy of people going through the turnstile, sitting on their seats, cheering people, the India flag flying. I think those are things which give me more joy than the music or anything, because you can listen to that in your Sonos and do what you can. But I think those things which I miss, look, it's just been 30 days, and there is nobody else on earth or out of businesses which could be hurting as much as us, because our revenue is down to zero, right? Because given the way the business is. But if you're not optimistic and you prepare for the worst, which we always do as a company, and you hope for the best, which we always do, and I do as an entrepreneur, because you've got to be optimistic. Life will be good. Life will be back to normal. We'll come back stronger, but you've got to give it time. I think we've seen that with the global financial crisis. We saw that with the dot-com bust, when we went from 150 people down to 6. I believe that in 2 years' time, we as an organization, as a nation, as people, as individuals, the ones that have managed this well and can keep their wits about them will come out stronger in about 2 years' time. Much, much stronger.
And as long as business leaders like you keep showing the way, we're going to more than manage. The Ashish Hemrajani interview continues on the other side. Here's Nelly Furtado and Powerless, only on 94.3 Radio 1. My name is Hrishi K. Pitbull, all his songs are a celebration, and none bigger than that one called Celebrate. Celebrating a super business with great fundamentals, even in this COVID-19 crisis. I'm talking Book My Show and its founder, CEO Ashish Hemrajani. What an interview this has been with Ashish. Keep it tuned.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Okay, last few questions before we wrap. Is there a business leader that you look up to who you think is really cool? A CEO, Captain.
I've always said this, Ratan Tata. And the reason I say that is just every time something happens, not when the going is good, but when the going is bad or the going is tough, he steps up, right? He steps up to do what he does every time. And from a business leader perspective, I think he brings in so many things which you want to emulate. He made a statement recently. He did that after the attacks at the Taj as well. And just the way he thinks about contribution, giving back, stepping up is phenomenal. And the other business that I truly, truly value is the Reliance business. Look at the stock. Look at the diversification of that company. Traditional business, backward forward integration, built a petroleum business. Oil is where it is. And that business always said data is the new oil, and it proved oil's down. Nobody wants to buy oil. Everybody's using data, which is part of the same company. Just think about it. It's just bizarre. This is bizarre. Either you're using oil or you're using data, and both those things that you use belong to the same company. So yeah, from a diversification, it's that. So how do you get yourself to think about that spectrum?
So you guys are doing great gigs right now, but a gig that you've gone to and gone, wow, anywhere around the world or in India, could be a concert, could be a circus, anything.
Look, I went for Sleeping Beauty at the La Scala, and it was a 3-hour ballet, and this was in summer of 2019, and it was special. And we partnered with La Scala to get the Traviata, and that was in the works before COVID. And Zubin Mehta was going to do. I spent time with Zubin Mehta over lunch. In fact, dinner and breakfast and spend some time. And then it was amazing to see him conducting. I went for him for one of his concerts as well, where I happened to spend time with him. This was summer of last year. And then I went back to La Scala and then saw a couple of months down the line, and I saw The Sleeping Beauty. Again, phenomenal. I mean, just unreal. So those days and times will come back. And that was special. I mean, it's not a concert in the true sense.
Yeah, correct.
But just the grandeur and again, the performances were just phenomenal.
A book you've read that's really left its impression on your mark on you.
Jobs, I mean, Steve Jobs' story, Jobs was phenomenal. But there was a book that I read many years ago and memories came back and I picked it up again and reread parts of it. It's a book called Rigged, and it's about the oil exchange. And it talks about a period where the Italians run the oil exchange in New York. And the only exchange that wasn't shut in the US after 9/11 was the oil exchange. And given the whole uncertainty around oil and negative barrel prices and how oil has taken a downturn, I went back to that book. It's such an interesting book to read called Rigged. And so I mean, it's the flavor of the period because it just reminded me of that oil exchange and what happened at that time after 9/11. And if you read the book Rigged, it's very similar in a lot of ways. So pretty interesting book. I would recommend it.
The books, the musicals, and the concerts. What a well-rounded individual he is, the founder, CEO of BookMyShow. I'm sure you'd agree with me. Our last leg of conversation with Ashish Hemrajani up ahead. You don't want to go anywhere. Is Shawn Mendes with his mega hot Treat You Better. Only on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. I'm Hrishi K. Madcon is a Norwegian musical duo formed in 1992 by Josef Wolde Mariam and Shawe Bachwa. To date, they've released 6 albums, and that's their song featuring Ray Dalton called Don't Worry. A 2-part bonanza with Ashish Hemrajani is nearing its end. The founder, CEO of BookMyShow, and his interview with me. One last leg now.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
A favorite travel destination, a place you've gone to and said, wow, this is it, man.
For us, Italy has always been top of the top because it gives you everything. It gives you the beaches, gives you the mountains, gives you the rustic Puglia and that coast. It gives you skiing, it gives you the mountains, the Dolomites, Trecin, Cinque Terre. I mean, it's got everything. If there's one country that has everything in a very small area, is Italy and Tuscany. And we've been to Tuscany and stayed. So I just miss that, knowing, and it was gut-wrenching to know what Italy went through, knowing how fond we are, how fond I am of Italy, the food, the people, and then to know what happened was quite gut-wrenching. But Croatia is great. I sailed with my sailing buddies in Croatia a few years back. We did a 8 days, 7 nights trip, living on a boat, and we sailed from island to island. That's how we went to Croatia. We went from every place. We never got off the boat. The boat was our home for 7 nights. I think that was special. Cows last year was awesome. We went on a global team racing regatta with the whole sailing group, and that was fun to just be in cows and compete in very harsh environment. But I've been watching this series called Shetland on Netflix, and very similar. The places look very similar to cows in a lot of ways, the weather and all of that. So, I mean, the world has so much to offer. And even within India, Goa is always a favorite. We just finished Goa before the lockdown. I love Kannur. I've got some land there. I love Kannur, and we've got some great friendships there. There's just too much to see. Yeah. So, and especially now your mind is playing tricks on you. That there's a lockdown.
Wanderlust.
Listen, man, I don't mind going to Mandwa for all I care, or Alibag.
Last question. Your favorite school or college memory? What would that be? I mean, memories.
Oh gosh, school was carefree. I mean, you don't have the weight of the world on you. That they say, like, the first 25 years you live on your parents' money, the next 25 years you earn, and then the next 25 years you live for your children. And so, but that period of time where you had nothing, right? And the incremental joy of nothingness, of having nothing, of the smallest things. I mean, I remember when we used to go to Goa, we used to take the bus, that was the only way to travel at that time. You'd take the bus because the flights were far and few in between. You couldn't afford them. You take a seater bus. And the joy of getting sleeper buses or, air-conditioned coaches, and the joy of then Konkan Kanya getting added and going to Tivim by train, taking an 11 o'clock train from Dadar and then, going to Goa and reaching in the morning and saying, wow, man, I remember 170 rupees or 140 bucks $90 for an auto ride from Tivim to North Goa. And then it's those small joys which have got nothing to do with materialism or anything external. Yeah. So I think that was special at that time. So I think those memories come flooding through, given that there is nothingness now and all the trappings of your car, your home, travel, and all your BS about, putting it on Instagram and how it looks and what do you do and what you post is all out, right? And it's these little joys that did the guy get range-free eggs? Were they available? Are there eggs? Hey, listen, it's the really small things that matter. And I think in school and college, those matter. So it's coming a full circle.
Ashish Hemrajani, thank you. And see you soon in person to give you that hug.
Thanks, Hrishi. And good on you to do this. I think it's important for all of us. People are cynical and they complain and they yap. And there's a lot of just forwarded messages going around. I just think it's your obligation to do what you can, when you can, in the capacity that you can, in whatever little measure or way that you can. And this is one of the ways that you are, in your own way, doing your bit. And if each one of us does that bit, we'll make that difference. So good on you to do that. And I'm more than happy to be able to contribute.
Thank you, bro. Cheers. Take care.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Here's Nick Jonas on the playlist now, a song called Jealous. I'm Hrishi K and you're tuned in to 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station.